Well, hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in this great land of ours, world of ours. Welcome back to the My Love of Golf podcast for another episode. Is this episode 200? It is. I can see the heads nodding. I can see the heads nodding. It's episode 200. Well, there's no special celebration this episode to celebrate the milestone of episode 200. The only thing that's changed is I am on the road. It's Roscoe on the road this week, not Rocket on the road. I'm in Queensland. I'm at Royal Pines Golf and Conference Resort. And I tell you, Rocket, I can feel the appeal of the Queensland winter weather. Rocket, you were here for, I should have done my homework and counted how many episodes of those 200. Let's just say a very big chunk of them. Congratulations, young man, for staying the journey, for wanting to be part of the journey and continue this, whatever we do. Well done. How do you feel? How do you feel about reaching 200? Should we raise a bat? I don't have a bat. Should we raise a bat?
Well, thanks for not kicking me off. Right, so, yeah,
No.
there's probably been a few times where you're probably thinking after we finish the recording, going, why have I invited this malcontent onto this podcast?
But, hey, there's always someone that sends a message saying, "Oh, that was great. He was great." I was like, "Okay, fair enough. You can stay."
My people.
Yes, well, but let's just recap a couple of things that have happened in that journey. It was October 2018 that we started this, and a lot of things. Yeah, as we've always joked, and everyone who's been a long part of that journey know that we progressed from recording in a car in the back of a laneway at 9 o'clock at night.
The mobile podcast studio calling me on my mobile, walking around on my property.
talking into a digital recorder and holding it down to a car stereo speaker in the footwell of a car. We really had no idea back then, did we? But we made stuff happen. We were the early pioneers of golf podcastery in Australia, and it's grown. It's a competitive space. It's grown, but we were one of the first ones there of the non-paid, and proudly still non-paid. May I ask you? Well, we've had some offers, Rocket. We've had the offer of Marie's weekly biscuits. She's been involved right from the start. Marie actually sent me a lovely text today, just thanking me for the inspiration around Scotland. She might want to go. You might want to take Marie to Scotland one day. So Marie's been there trying to bribe Magic Mike's support with biscuits, trying to drive a divide between the three of us, with jam filled biscuits that one would get and the other. Anyway, there's been a whole host of people that have supported us along the way in this non-paid podcast. You've tried very hard, Rocket, to garner support from one of the biggest brands in golf, and you represent them proudly. And I see a wonderful backdrop that you've got there. If you listen to us and you see the Instagram post, you'll see what I'm talking about. Rocket's beautiful creative backdrop of 3 tour staff bags from TaylorMade. Rocket, what are you doing?
Well, a lot of the artwork that Mrs. Rocket wanted to put in my study, I was not a fan of. And then off the back of getting the US Open bag this year, I said, "Oh, what if I put it on the wall?" She's like, "Oh, that could be like your art." And I'm like, "Yeah." And then it's like, "Oh, let's get the Open Championship one. Oh, actually, let's get Collins one from last year as well." And so they went up on the wall last week.
Well, the colours are all complementary. You've got through there that tonality. The white highlights the Mrs. Rocket's white on white colour scheme. I can see there in the Queensland abode, and it's flanked with some bronze and beige with a few little brown hints in there. It really is well put together artwork. The
Well,
people.
well, the thing is that there's another little space sort of just over here, and I'm already concocting that potentially, I could create another, like almost like a little mini extension, go out a little bit, and it's kind of big enough where I could probably create a little storage room for more bags, so I could actually swap my art around and have more.
Oh dear.
And she's on board.
Very good. Oh, well, Mrs. Rocket's been, we had a joke that your mum, Marie, in Tassie, she supplies the biscuits, and she hasn't tried to get in between us. Absolutely not. She's tried to keep us together as a cohesive unit and just provide us with some sustenance. But Mrs. Rocket, your wife, has been a very strong supporter of you, staying up late, taking over the house, making noise, not putting the kids to bed. Yeah, they were 3 years younger. Your triplets, they were 3 years younger when you started this. So she's been a very big supporter. So we thank Mrs. Rocket. And when you reflect on 200 episodes, what are any special moments come to mind, Rocket?
I have two, and they're all related to the Masters. First of all, your 2-part interview with Mel Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
That is still one of my favourites, and I actually go back and listen to that one. And the second one is my early call on Tiger before the 2019 Masters.
Mm. It was a big call and came through. Speaking of Masters, what about the secret episode that never got published, the Luke Elvy special?
Oh,
but it was that hot that CBS put the clamps on it.
Oh my goodness.
It didn't make it past the CBS boffins. We're going to say it was that hot. It might have been rubbish, but no, it was pretty good. We had Luke Elvy on the line, and he said, "No, guys," he said, "Look, just to put some clarity around that, it was the time when the Masters has been."
It was postponed, COVID time.
Yeah, it was postponed, and they just really didn't want to be part of a Masters-oriented podcast, and when it was about to be postponed. So that was the reason why we never got to air our. Fine, some great stories from Luke Elvy. That was a highlight without it being a highlight for me, talking to one of Australia's broadcasters.
It's in the vault. What about to release it as like maybe a members only?
I wonder if there's a statute of limitations on that sort of stuff. We could just put it out there and say, "Oh, sorry, Luke, didn't know."
It could be members only, so it's not public, right?
Okay, well. We've got as close as we've got to members on the Discord, the growing Discord, and there's some chat going on in there as we speak. So thanks for everyone joining in there, and that's probably as close as we've got to a group of members. But we'll get to maybe membership one day where when you get a membership, you might get a T-shirt and a hat. Have a look at this T-shirt. Golfers are athletes too. What a joke! I'm nowhere near an athlete.
What would be great is if John Daly was wearing that.
Yeah. So we've left him hanging out there. We've ignored him totally for 10 minutes. Magic Mike, welcome to the 200th episode.
Thanks, mate. It's probably good that you did because, I've only probably done about 40. So it's good that you probably had 160 minutes of conversation there and I come in for the end. That's okay. That's good.
You were shoehorned into doing this, let's be honest. We played golf at Barnbougle and we didn't know each other that well. But you gave me a rundown on what you do, your world of stats, the lengths and efforts you go to. And it was probably about 2 holes in of playing golf with you that I was fairly convinced that you were a details man, because, you knew every shot that everyone had hit. You already had the scorecard marked, as the putt was rolling in, and, that set the tone for that day and the next 45 holes that we played in record-breaking time. And, somewhere between the 85th and 91st hole, you gave me the insight into the spreadsheets. And I thought, wow, there's something in that. You should do your own podcast. How about coming on ours to have a chat? And one thing led to another, and there you were really doing a lot of the work administratively because you do help keep us together. That organised mind that you've got and that ability to see things and put things together is one of the reasons why we've been able to keep going and do 200 because, you keep shit happening, Magic. And Rocket is very clearly a free-spirited band. I go in between a bit of organised chaos and doing what I want, and but you're always there to chime in with, what are we doing?
There'd be no Discord without Mike either.
No, absolutely
zero. I don't know, what event was that? That was just I couldn't sleep one night and woke up to watch the golf and decided to set up the Discord. Well, Doc was going to do it anyway, but decided nothing else to do.
There you go.
No, thanks, mate. That was good. Yeah, no, it was. I can remember when it was. We were walking up 10th on Barnbougle Dunes.
Correct.
And we're talking. I was telling you the story of my weekend of picking 3 winners in a row, and you said, "How do you do it?" And I explained, "Well, this is how I do it." It's sort of graduated from 21 years ago of pulling up the people that hit it the longest on the courses where I think hitting the ball long is good, and walking into a TAB and hand filling out a ticket to put a bet on the golf. So it's a very different world now. There's lots more data for me, and you can bet on anything sitting on the couch. Much easier.
I sent you a message last night. We were at dinner with a group of Australia's finest golf retailers, an executive team of Drummond Golf, and some of the franchisees like I am up here at Queensland at Royal Pines. And they started talking about the golf. Obviously, it was around the Open, and we're talking about the Shark. There's quite a bit of Shark discussion. There was some people that nearly, you would have loved the conversation, Rocket, because they were talking about years of Sharks not misdemeanors, but golfing related misdemeanors. The failures and the second places and how many. And I was just sitting there going, Rocket would know that. Rocket would know that. Rocket would know that without even thinking about it. There's no, yeah, exactly. but we started talking about, what was it, Mike? Long drive and how they measure distance. Yeah, driving distance, and because I can't remember who we were talking about, but I just secretly snuck a little message out to Mike, and within a couple of minutes, I popped up and said, "Well, this is how they measure it," because Mike had the info without even a breath.
I thought you must have been in like some sort of quiz. Something like some trivia night for golf nerds, and the question was, how do they measure driving distance on the PGA Tour? Phone a friend.
I reckon next time he has a conference, we have to sit down with him and go through like I'll go with all the history stuff. You go, that's the data. Get him ready and prepped so he can sit at the table.
I thought you were going to say next time he goes on one of these, we have to have some fake answers ready.
One of those earpieces, and we get a van and sit outside into a microphone.
It effectively was a trivia night for our golf nerds. There was some people there that did know their stuff. So, who was it? Anyway, I can't remember. But there's one of the guys that's got like every Masters, recorded on DVD, recorded on VHS, and then he transferred them to DVD. And then there was a bit of discussion around, well, you should really get them off DVD and digitize them and keep them in a modern form. But that basically he's got every Masters in his life recorded.
They're all on the I think the Masters has already released them all on YouTube or something. But I mean,
oh no, but they're the only the final rounds. He's probably gone and recorded
all of them.
Yeah.
All because up until 92. No, it was 93. 93, I think, was the first time they started to show more rounds. 93 or 94.
Well, they never used to show the front nine.
Yeah, it was like round 90. That was, Woozy was 91. So 92 was when they started to show a few more holes. Like they got back to the 7th, because that's Freddie's year. I remember they started showing the 7th hole, and then it was still another, I don't know how long before they'd start to show the first hole.
Yeah.
But then the other thing as well, you would never see even the first 2 rounds of the majors until like 93. Because I think from memory, that was one of the first years they would show all the rounds. Like for me as a kid, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get more tapes, VHS tapes.
Oh dear. Well, if you're going to ask me what my favourite moments are, there are probably way too many to recount. And there's, for me, it was, we started it, and I've probably said this before, but it was started like a personal development sort of program. It's doing something different, doing something that stretched my confidence and stretched my ability to do something different. And as I started to do it with my son, and there was a little bit of a dad and son time. He would help with the technical stuff out with the car. He was no part of the recording in the car. He would shake his head when I told him what we did. But in terms of making that recording sound good, he was very much part of that. So seeing him go on to, broadcast his first game of professional football on TV last week was a crowning moment as a dad. And that's somewhat related to the start of this podcast because, he and I were in the car driving into the city talking about podcasts, saying, we should start one. You can help, you can do your own, whatever. He's just skyrocketed into the stratosphere and as a young 22-year-old. So seeing him do that, the generation of that was from this podcast. So that was pretty good. Being able to have spoken to, people in the industry and people in, the sphere of golf influence that a lot of people look up to, Eric Lang and Andy Proudman, but also, people who didn't know people who no one knew anything about, like Mike Brown, and to tell Mike's story and then become friends with Mike's story, take Mike to a game of Melbourne City football and introduce him to Roston Griffiths. And, he was from the same town as Roston Griffiths' family and, they just got on like a house on fire. They were playing golf in Mike's stay here. And then Mike goes and win the Australian Amputee Open and then another at the Riversdale Cup and stuff like that. That's been great because, we made friends and we made friends all around the world, on the back of the podcast just by providing people some entertainment and then wanting to show some reciprocity, by hosting you at a golf club and that sort of thing and becoming friends. And for me, the people that we've interviewed have been great and you guys are great, but just the ability to connect with other people, is good. And whether we do another 100, 200, 400, who knows what happens. But, I don't think we're going to turn up after today and say, right, that's it. So you don't have to worry about that. What you do have to worry about is what we are going to talk about next week because we're not quite sure. And we weren't quite sure what we were going to talk about today. It's largely unplanned, largely unscripted. We just go with it. And, people tell us that they like listening to us chat. It's like sitting in the bar, listening to their mates chat. So we'll keep doing that.
And one angry guy sitting down the end just yelling at me.
Oh, dear. So anyway, long story short, thank you. There was some golf played last week. I, for whatever various reasons, didn't see much of the golf other than to check on the result of the BMW Championship. It's down to the pointy end of the tipping. I missed the week before, and it probably kept me out of a top 5 finish. Let's be honest. If I would have nailed the week that I missed and then nailed the second place this week, I could have been more than 29th, put it that way. No, that's a joke. Because my performance was a joke in this tipping competition. I just couldn't get this. I couldn't get the ebb and the flow of the picking right. I didn't know when to pull the card or when to hold it, and I probably ended up with too many big guns left to pick from for one round when I should have been. I don't know who I've got. I might have to. Who's going to win anyway? Well, let's talk about last week because I picked second. I don't know how you guys went, but I got second. What was the digest of the BMW? Mike, you can talk.
Look, it was a pretty standard US PGA Tour event. The course was a new course this year, but it was probably very similar to the week before, and probably very similar to a lot of other courses they play during the season. A little bit of water, some thick rough, premium on driving, bigger greens than probably normal. It was just a tournament that was probably stock standard. The only thing that was probably a little bit different to normal is it got hard and fast, which they don't normally do too much of on the PGA Tour. It's normally a bit of a dart throwing competition, and it sort of baked out as the week went on. So, of course, it looked like they should have been eating up. They didn't, they got 14 under the winner, but normally you'd expect them to be north of 20. I don't know. Did you watch much of it, Rocket?
No, because at some point we'll talk about how I feel like I'm just super jaded by 2022 PGA Tour, all that sort of stuff. I literally, I don't know. I feel like I'm the negative. I'm the old guy down the end of the bar, Mr. Negative Man. Oh, I didn't watch any of it. I didn't. It doesn't appeal to me anymore. I don't know why.
That's fair enough. You're probably not alone. Yeah, look, it was one that probably the tour would have been happy with. The premium guys got there in the end. I was Cantlay won, and I think he went back to back. He won it last year.
Paddy Ice is back.
Paddy Ice, yeah. Stallings played very, very well above himself, finished second. Scotty Scheffler third with Xander, KH Lee fifth. Corey Connor's another good week for Corey. He was right at the top of the data lake too, so it was pretty interesting to see him right up there. Adam Scott fought his way into the top 30 for this week at Eastlake, so with a good result.
What did Adam do? Hold a bunk.
He fell backwards over the weekend.
He right around par over the weekend. Yeah, he didn't. He sort of was. It was round one. He was right up there. Right up there. Shot 65 round one. But yeah, his last shot, he'd hit into the. I've got a funny feeling he was in the rough on the right hand side off the tee on 18, and then chopped it out, got it going towards the green, went into the green side bunker, and had to get up and down for par. And if he didn't get up and down for par, he wasn't going Eastlake. And he hit an absolute perler to about 1.5 feet. And they were like, "Oh, he's got there," and I was like, "This is Adam Scott. Let's just all make sure he knocks this 1.5 putt in." I couldn't watch, but he did it. He did it without worry, which was good. And then topping out the top 10 were Neiman, Pendrith, Rory, and Rahm. So it was a solid week. It was a bit of a nothing week, but it was good to see some of the big names up there. But to be honest, because Stallings was in second place and they were 2 and 3 shots ahead of third, I don't think anyone really thought Cantlay was going to lose. So it was kind of a bit of a slow finish. The only thing that happened quite well for Cantlay was on 17. He hit one of those drives that can sort of squirt off to the right-hand side, and he thought he was in the bunker. It hit about a foot before the bunker, kicked into the bunker, and then somehow ran out, went into the thick rough, and then rolled into the middle of the fairway. Like, if he hit 50 more shots, it would have been either in the bunker or in the long grass. Instead, he was in the middle of the fairway, makes his birdie on 17, and tournament was over.
Scott Stallings. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, you're right.
I was just going to say, Scott Stallings, it's first time to make the Tour Championship in 12 years on tour or something like that.
Yeah, I believe so. He's one of those guys that's really concentrated on, and he's put up a lot of TikTok or videos about his body and keeping fit, and he's really changed the way he goes to market. And it's paid off the last, probably this end of this season's probably been I've sort of really started to notice his positions where he's finishing off have been a lot better than where he's been before. And he can't be far away from probably getting a win, which probably won't be this year because there's only one tournament left. But for you, Ross, there's only one thing you need to worry about. That was the tipping. So for you, you were one of the very few people that finished with a second place. Oh, sorry, T3, but the best result of everybody. So that was $870,000. Kirky had Xander. How Good's Golf had Scotty Scheffler. Public Golf had Scotty Scheffler. Goffey had Scotty Scheffler. Chi had Scotty Scheffler. Level F Neb Benford always does my head in with that name. Scotty Scheffler and Mlog Rocket had Xander. The most interesting thing of that is Scotty Scheffler this week is starting with a 10-shot lead, and the people that picked him this week were that confident that that this is the week to have him and not next week. They could have saved him for the final, but they didn't. Rocket is the most tortured jinxed man in the tipping competition. I reckon it's the third time this year you've picked a bloke who's...
I was just going to say, how many WDs can a man have?
I'm pretty sure it's at least 2. I think about a couple of Hidekis.
Yeah. Yes, I reckon Hideki got you.
I know Hideki's got me, and then in this one I just couldn't believe it.
Well, you and Robbo Magic both had Will Zalatoris, and he withdrew with a bad back. And I didn't do much better. I had Tony Finau, who had he sort of chugged home the last couple of rounds, but he was 7 over through round 1. And I'm pretty happy that he made any money at all in a no-cut event, which is saying something.
So Aussies that make the final 30 to go to, hold on, just while I take a sip of the sponsor's product, to Eastlake. Aussies that go to Eastlake, who we got? Cam Smith.
Cam Smith is there. Cam Smith's there. Adam Scott's there. Yeah. And that's it, I think. Leach must have been close, but he didn't make it. No, that's it.
How far did Herbie, because Herbie didn't have the worst BMW championship, but how far did he miss out by, do you know?
I think he was a fair way
back.
Yeah. I don't remember there being too many Aussies that were on the cusp of getting in. I just remember saying Leach had a good few tournaments in a row late, for a bloke that is probably not going to be on this tour next year. I don't think that's new news. Not breaking any news there. Yeah, he actually I'll look it up for you and tell you where they finished up regular FedEx Cup season points. Who was just outside the 30? Corey Connors finished 31. Mav McNeely, Russell Henley, Keegan Bradley. Where was Herbie? Herbie was 46, so it's not miles away. And Leash wasn't even that close at all.
Yeah, it was the thing that hurt him is probably that middle part of the year. He had that 3 or 4 month stretch in the middle of part of the year where he was just
dipped,
missing too many cuts.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's that. The only player that went to live that would have made it in was Taylor Gooch. Taylor Gooch was the only one that still finished in the top 30, but obviously he's not there. So that's how mate Corey Connors will get in.
Speaking back of Herbie, did you see that he had nearly had a hole in one?
Yes, yes.
And he gave it on the. It was being is it Immelman, the commentator?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So Immelman was commentating it, and then you can hear in the background, "Do it for Jamie. Do it for Jamie." That's of course Jamie Glazier, Herbie's mental performance coach, who I'm actually catching up with tomorrow briefly. Which will be good. So, he never stops giving it to Jamie for his lack of hole-in-one coverage in his 30-odd years of playing the game. But, Herbie was like, do it for Jamie. That's all you could hear on the broadcast. It was funny. It was like if you know, you know moment. Very good.
Yeah, it's funny how many people Jamie must be pretty happy that there are so many people out there. The first thing they think of if they make an ace is Jamie. I will 100% text him if it comes up anytime.
You'd want to tag him and go, look at this.
Yeah, but you know what happens? Like it's not the people that he knows or knows of, like that you guess people he's never ever heard of, seen in his life, like, just tag him, like giving it to him, and like he's just, oh man, I don't even know these people.
The karma will turn. He'll end up making 2 in a day.
It will.
Something like that.
Anyway.
That was the BMW.
That was the BMW.
Don't forget this week for the tips for the Net Club Challenge. Don't forget to put your tips in. Obviously, there's only 30 people to choose from. It is based off the starting points. So Scotty Scheffler is starting at 10 under, Cantlay at 8, Zalatoris 7, Xander 6, Burns 5, Cam Smith 4, and on and on and on. So if you've got one of those guys, you're best off picking one of those guys. That's going to be at the pointy end. And first prize is $2.7 million. So you can make a fair dent in the leaderboard. So Michael Lloyd is there at the top at 12.8. So lazy 880K clear.
Do you know who Michael Lloyd has available to pick from? Is anyone in there that can't pick anyone?
Don't know. I can't see who people
Yeah, who they've got left. Yeah. That's an interesting thought.
You could go and figure it out because effectively you can go, oh, actually, you know what? Can I do that?
Michael Lloyd might have pulled all these big guns.
Not impossible. Yeah. I think there is a way to do it, but maybe it's a paid version, perhaps.
Stuff like that. Paying. Aussie golfer, we ain't paying.
No, but if you went through, it's got all the every tournament's history there. So realistically, you could go back and see if someone really wanted to do that. The people that really care are probably the people right behind him. So Nomadic Golfer is 880K behind. 3 putt or die. The Doctor. We don't want the Doctor to win. We just hope he fits to put his hips in there. No one wants me to win. So
speaking of, how's Doctor's Vanden the band? How's it charting?
I think it's been good. Yeah, he did tell me the other day exactly how many streams he's had, and he was quite surprised. But yeah, no, it's going quite well. Doc's been very busy man. He's just purchased a nice little holiday home down at Port Fairy.
A mile of a golf conference centre.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be my part-time residence at some point, I'm sure, over summer. He may not know that, but I'll be there. I'll figure out where the
He
spare
listens to
key
this
is.
podcast, you'll find out.
No, he won't listen. Yes, and no, he's been busy sorting all that. I think on the weekend he's been down there cleaning up and doing other bits and pieces. But no, the Vanden band has been doing quite well. He said in the streams, he's very surprised. He actually said we really should have put this up on Spotify and that a long time ago.
There you go. Well, if you want to listen to some neoclassic emo, hardcore, soft metal, with a bit of raw vocals, Vanden Band on Spotify, you can get it. Download it. Think of Doc. He is the marketing genius, and also the chief musician. Speaking of BMW, and just a little thing on Drummer Golf, because that's who I'm up here at Royal Pines with. We were missing one of our franchisees, Milvo from Nidri. So if you shop at Nidri in Victoria, in Melbourne,
I've been to Nidri a couple of times.
Around the corner. So Milvo is a BMW client. Milvo, and a very good golfer, can't putt, but nonetheless still a very good golfer. Putts with a broomstick. He was absent from the meeting because he was at the BMW Championship as one of the Australian winners of the BMW Owners Golf Tournament, and it was the first time they'd had that final, the world final. So every market has we used to do it at Mercedes-Benz. So every market has a golf tournament, part of their marketing strategy. And if you win the regional final, you go to the national final. You win the national final, you go all expenses paid, pointy end of the plane to a world final. Now it used to be it was in Germany, but they had to combine 2 years into one. So the American boss said, well, why don't we have it at the BMW championships and do all of the hosting at the BMW and play the course the 2 days after the tournament. So Milvo missed the meeting, the Drummer Golf meeting here at Royal Pines, to go to play and represent BMW Owners of Australia.
I'm sure he's very disappointed. I'm sure he's missing out on the on Royal Pines versus wherever they play this week.
Well, let me just say that I'm sure that BMW got plenty in the can for beverages, sponsors products, and alcoholic sponsors products, because the bar bill, the room service bill, and every other bill that related to food and alcohol was significantly down on the back of Milvo not being here this week, and it's going to be significantly up for the boss of BMW over there, because if there's one person that knows how to turn a meeting into a 3-day party, it's Milvo, and he backs it up by shooting 2 or 3 under at every golf tournament that we ever have. So he also gave someone else the opportunity to win the little 4-man Ambrose that we had. We shot a couple under.
How'd you go? Yeah, I was going to say, did you win? No.
We shot a couple under. We did have a couple of 47 handicappers. There was a couple of the fine women that work and represent at the managerial level in Drummer Golf franchises. And they don't play a lot of golf, but they all play, and they had the highest handicap. So we had a couple of 47 handicappers. So our handicap was fairly stacked, but we only managed like 3 under. We finished third on 58 net or something like that.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah.
Sound flat. You really wanted it, didn't you?
No, I just said I was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
And what was the longest drive prize, and are we giving it away or?
No, the longest drive, there was a prize, but no, I didn't get it. I had a go. I caught the lip of a bunker anyway. Rogue ST. Didn't win it. Anyway. Royal Pines, not a bad course. Have you played at Royal Pines, either of you two?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay.
I think it's I don't know which course it is. Which is the path 4 out the back where it's got the creek in front, it's got the bridge on the right?
I really don't know. Creek in front, the bridge on the right. I think that's the Gold course. But it is a confusing sort of scenario. Like if you like me
I drove it over the bridge. Actually went over the bridge.
Oh, really? That's not a very good shot.
I've launched one. It's gone down the right-hand side. It's hit like a downslope, one of the mounds, bounded over, bounced up. It ran across the rail of the bridge to the other side. Pin high, chip up, hole it for a birdie.
Easy.
What I can't work out is how many holes there are here. Does either of you know how many holes there are? It's 27.
It's 27, yeah. When I played it was right around when they were doing all the renos. It was maybe 5-6 years ago. And one of the yeah. I just remember being a lot of water, and it was good. Like, it wasn't bad. It was just a resort course, which is, there's a fair few of them up there, and they're stacked with courses in that part of the world. There's probably 5 or 6 courses you can play within 5 minutes walk of each other. It was good.
I asked because I thought it was 27 holes, and I went to type something when I took those photos with the drone, 27 holes, and then I read somewhere like 4 18-hole. It's like there's 4 different versions of 18-hole courses that they can have with the 27 holes, and it was a little confusing. We played the front 9 of the green and then the front 9 of the gold course. So
they probably have a composite in there that adds to one, and something else, a separate secondary composite.
And then I remembered that the grainy greens, we've often talked about the grainy greens up here, Rocket, because you are the Queenslander. I got to see them in their full force. And it is hats off to anyone that's won a tournament up here on grainy greens and putted the dots off it, because they must be putting geniuses. Because surface-wise, beautiful surface. The surface coverage feels great underfoot. I always like to feel a green underfoot and just sort of get a sort of vibe of what it feels like. Look great, but just the ball can go one of several ways.
Yeah.
And
not only can it go like not where you're wanting it to go, but you need to put all of that out of your brain and just have the confidence to hit it where you want to hit it. Like you need to have the belief. I don't have the belief on those greens at all. Like, I just know it's going to go nowhere, and there's no way I'm making the putt. But you see people that are good on it, they don't care. They just hit it, and it seems to just do what they need it to do. That's not for me.
And that, like the whole, the way the grain flows, there's a sharp edge of the hole and then a crusty edge of the hole, and there's, the crusty edge of the hole is like jaggedy, raggedy sort of edge, and then the sharp edge is really sharp. So anyway, it was a good experience. It was a good course. Enjoyed it.
Are you going to play anywhere else, or?
No, going home tomorrow. So we were just here for a couple of days, and we had the little 18-hole fun event, and got to see the course and do that. But no, going home tomorrow after see Jamie and do a other little bit of drum and golf sort of things up here. But no, that's it. Back to Mrs. My Love of Golf.
Yeah. That's it. Lots of travel.
There's a little bit coming up. Needless to say. She might not know about it all yet, but anyway, that'll
let's talk about it.
No, well, it's not confirmed. It's not confirmed. It's not confirmed, but there's some good, the good stuff potentially happening. Speaking back to the podcast, Mike, you and I are going to catch up with some of your fitness-related people. So just more of that coming next week, which is good.
It was good. After Rocket and I talked about it the other week that we're going to do one coming up, and I had maybe Scott Carter and one other person messaged me saying, "Oh, that sounds good." So just get the Rory from Keezer, and he's going to give us a bit of a rundown on strength for golf.
Yeah,
hopefully. Yeah.
So we will start doing more of the interviews. We know that that's what a lot of people like to consume, and we will keep doing that. Now that I'm back from overseas, there's a few already in the pipeline, and we'll keep doing some more of that. So, yeah, that's not going away. We've got the Net Club Championships, the Tour Championships. Once again, sorry, I was just getting a bit dry because I've been doing all the talking. Sponsors product. Of course, it's the home of Coca-Cola in the States. Once headed up by it. Do you know a little fun fact? Whenever I come to these meetings up here, the guys from New South Wales know where I'm from. They know that I was from Cessnock. Cessnock gets a bit of a rap, a little bit like Frankston sort of thing. Gets a bit of a rap. So they give me a hard time for being from Cessnock and forgetting my rugby league roots and all that sort of stuff. Once upon a time, the global CEO of Coca-Cola was a chap by the name of Douglas Daft, D-A-F-T. You can Google Douglas Daft. He was from Cessnock and became the global CEO of Coca-Cola. And as you told me before, Mike, Eastlake, the town of Eastlake. Where is it? Is it Atlanta?
Atlanta.
Yeah,
yep.
Atlanta is the home of Coca-Cola, which was once upon a time headed up by Douglas Daft from Cessnock. There you go. What's happening? Who's going to win? What do we do? How do we shake this Eastlake stuff down? Well, 30 people.
30 people. Yeah, it's a yeah, look, everyone knows the course. They play there every year. They've moved it a long time. You're going to need to be pretty accurate. It's a bit longish. Length wouldn't hurt. It's one of those ones where I don't care about the net result. I know that that's what they're going to award the FedEx Cup and the Tour Championship on, but from me, from someone who's probably going to invest in the tournament, I really want it to just be a normal tournament. And most people, that if you want to have a bet, will have two different markets. You can have a bet on the starting with the starting shots in there or not in there, and I'll probably look at it from the not in there route. The guys that I think will go well, obviously Scotty Scheffler will go well, but the three that I've got trending above him, and ones that I'll be watching is one's Corey Connors. So I think he'll have another good week. But the two at the top are Sung Jae Im and the king of the net club, which is Xander Schauffele. Xander Schauffele seems to play well here every year, and his stats stack up perfectly. He's about the third or fourth favourite. But, yeah, for me, I won't be going near Scheffler because his price is not going to be any good. But I think Sung Jae Im and Xander will be the two that I'll be keeping an eye on. So if anyone does have those in their picks, that they don't have Scheffler, they might be the way to go.
Well, I have either of Xander Schauffele or Sung Jae Im.
Have you got Scheffler? Sorry,
No, I've got
Scheffler.
I've got Scheffler. I've got no Scheffler. I've got no Schauffele, and I've got no Sung Jae Im. So I have to see who is still available. But really, for me, like you were saying before, a lot of people sort of kept Scheffler for this week.
Yeah,
I probably should have kept Schauffele for this week, but the lure of trying to get some form of run on the board after a couple of dots and a terrible performance got me into Schauffele last week. So I don't know who I'll pick this week.
Any of the guys at the top of the leaderboard that need me to take out a few players to make sure they withdraw and try and help them with their win, just let me know, and I'll change my selection to try and knock out any players.
Who have you got left?
The best one I've got left is Tony Finau, who I've already picked.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, he's not bad.
I might have to pick Adam Scott. I think I might only have like Adam left.
He's playing good golf. You can't argue. He's playing very good golf. Yeah, and this part of the world seems to trend well for Aussies. So, yeah, wouldn't be the worst pick.
And how many President's Cups will that be for Adam?
Is it 12?
12 President's Cups.
Is it 12?
I don't know.
It was a lot. I saw it the other day because they put the little star. So it's when you want it. I'm just trying to figure out how many it is. It was a lot. I was quite surprised.
You can find that out, but it'll be a lot. He's pretty happy. You reckon? Yeah, EP pretty happy that he's going to represent
10 straight. 10 straight. Unbelievable.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. 10 straight. The playing leader, they called him.
Okay. Oh, you've got your President's Cup hoodie on?
I do.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, the way blokes are going to live, I'm only about 6 or 7 shots away from making the team. Get my handicap down a bit more.
Well, you will have one advantage if you do get in. You'll know the Peninsula Kingswood layout. I think the PGA.
I meant this year. I don't.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry. The PGA. I think the PGA Tour might have actually specified a preferred layout around the 36. I don't know. I didn't hear it from anyone official, but I think they might have said if it happens here, this is the routing that we want.
There you go.
Just saying.
Take it to the bank.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I don't know if I said this before, but yeah, from all reports, there was only, I had it on pretty good knowledge that they only visited 3 courses. One was PK,
Royal Melbourne, Kingston Heath, and Peninsula Kingswood.
But I heard from a different person, they might have visited one other course. And it's not a course that I thought that they'd be visiting.
Huntingdale?
No. It's the one.
Cranbourne?
No, it's another 2 course.
Growling Frog.
Course. It's not Growling Frog.
Heritage.
Devil Bend.
Heritage.
No, not Heritage. I think it's a lot closer to your house, Roscoe. And it's held 2 or 3 Australian Opens.
Middle Links.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
Also, I could be wrong. I'm sure there's someone listening to this who knows a lot more than me. But yeah, someone from down that way who's
got a Rosebud.
said that was the course. Well, if they played Rosebud, they could only play the north. They wouldn't even a composite. I don't know how many holes they'd get off the south.
They just had a game of golf on the way back from having lunch at St Andrews Beach Brewery, mate. That's why they went down there. That's
the person who gave me this info wasn't. I don't think he was guessing.
Okay.
Don't know. Oh, I don't think it's a good fit. It's too far.
Well, you made your thoughts very clear on the distance of Peninsula Kingswood being too far. So
I agree.
Anyway, okay. So who stacks up in the stats wise for the Net Club Championship, the Tour Championship at Eastlake, in Atlanta, home of Coca-Cola?
I'm only going to give you 6 names because we normally do. Well, I should only give you less than that. Actually, the 6th name is an interesting name, so I'll leave that in there. So Im, Schauffele, Connors, Scheffler, Fitzpatrick, and Billy Horschel. He's the last one that stacks in.
Billy Horschel.
It's difficult when you look at the course form here because the course form always relates to the net price. Yeah. So it's not quite the same. But I know Xander's at least won it once, maybe 2 years.
He's won it once. Well, he's won it once. Well, he's won it twice.
Yeah.
Won the Gross the other year.
Yeah. Correct. And the other one that always has to do well here is Justin Thomas
as well.
Came from the clouds that year. And JT has great results here too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what else happened during the week? So there was a fair bit of chat. I'm sure you guys have read the articles, the meeting, the special meeting, the secret meeting, the Tiger-led meeting. Did you read anything that came out of that, Mike?
Yeah, look, I did. I read and listened to most of the stuff that was around, and look, it makes sense from a PGA Tour player's point of view to have elevated events where they effectively just replicate live in America. But again, it doesn't really help me or anyone else that watches golf.
Is that their play just to, really try and put the clamps down on any possible tilt of live players getting WGR points through the Asian Tour to get access by them having these strong field events and, max? No,
they won't get a world golf ranking points anywhere except for the Asian Tour for at least another year and a bit. So no matter what happens, those guys won't be getting into majors based on their world ranking. What do they need world ranking points for?
But if all of the live, hypothetically, if all the live players said, right, we are all going to play in these 15 Asian Tour events, and the quality of field is high, they will get potentially, as long as they all win or perform well, get a lot of world ranking points. Is that right? Yeah, much more.
They would get more. The problem is the guys that have gone to live aren't ranked very high in the world even before they left. That's their biggest problem. Except for Cam, who's going.
And it also defeats the purpose of why they went to live because they don't want to play as much golf.
100%.
So live are going to have, let's say if they have a 14, 15 event season, they're going to want the top guys to play in at least 10 of those.
They have to.
And then then there's the majors. So the ones that already got pre-qualified into the majors. So there's 4 events. So all of a sudden it's 14. And then they've got to go and play another 10 to 15 to try and maintain their world ranking.
Yeah. Mate, and this is the part where I think there's so many storylines and things that we all think about and no one's really on the same path. And at no point has Greg Norman's intimated that he wants a world tour, but right now he's got a 12-season event or an 8-season event where 3/4 are in America, and next year it'll be the same, right? So that's not a world tour. PGA Tour is never going to do a world tour, so none of that's going to help us, right? So you're right, Rocket. They're going to have 15 events next year, and their contracts say they have to play all those events. So that's 15. If they get into 4 more, so we use Cam Smith as the example. He has to play 4 more majors, which I'm sure he's happy to do. So that's 19 events already. We talk about the fact that, Liv gives him the opportunity to now play in Australia. Okay, cool. Well, he'll play the Australian Open and the Australian PGA, right? And he might play whatever the other live event is in Australia, in Sydney. Do I think he'd play the 2 Asian events that'll be in Australia that they're talking about, the Vic Open, if it's a Vic Open or not?
No.
Maybe not. And then he might be told, yeah, and plus you got to go and play in some other headline Asian event or the season-ending tour event because you
He
need to
doesn't
help you
need to
prop
worry
up.
about it anymore because he's won an Open Championship. He's got
No, I know,
he's got
but
exemptions
they
into
need
majors for the next 5 years.
No, but they're going to need him to do the work to help people prop up the Asian tour events just to get the OWG up points up. I don't. Yeah, that they will need to all work together to do that. It seems like a whole lot of work, but I think a lot of the guys are on the back end of their careers. Let's be honest. Like I know that we know names like Poulter and Sergio and those guys, but they're all falling down. The guys that are really going to be missed, if any, are going to be DJ Brooks, Bryson, kind of. Gooch is an up and comer, and Cam Smith. There's no one else. Amanta. There's no, other than that, the other names that the general public knows, they're not good golfers. They're just not.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not on a world stage anymore.
No.
Like if you said to me, you can go and watch Cam Young play golf, or you can go and watch, I don't know, Heinrich Stenson. People are like, oh, who's Cam Young? It's like, no contest who you'd go and watch. And that's the part that the general public's getting excited about it. And it's not talking about Live or PGA Tour. Putting it all aside, it's going to be messy, but that meeting is effectively them ensuring the people that are there are going to stay, and for that, they will be able to be rewarded pretty much the same as the guys on Live will be in those whatever many events it's going to be. They'll play for 20 million a week, and that'll be it. They won't get sign-on money and everything else, but they'll keep the legacy of what the tour wants it to be and go from there.
Did either of you catch? It was only a snippet, so I haven't listened to the full episode. But Jeff Ogilvy on the Fire Pit Collective, that little clip where they put out Jeff's thoughts on the only way that it can work going forward.
Yeah. It was good. I listened to it. He talked about the idea of having
the whole. Did you listen to the whole thing or just a clip?
No, the whole thing. Yeah.
All right.
He talked about and it's not the worst idea. It's effectively separating the season. So saying effectively the PGA Tour season would finish where it does, and then from now until January is Live season. You go and do whatever you want between now and then, and you prove that you can be a tour, and then we'll worry about how we do the World Golf Ranking points, and you're not going to overlap with the PGA Tour and everything else, and that was kind of the main crux of what he put forward in that as one of his main points. And it's not the worst idea. The problem is for the PGA Tour to sell what they're selling to get the value that they want to get, that doesn't work for them because they don't want their players.
And it's the same with Live. They're going to go, no way.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't want to be the second.
Yeah,
but they want to be the big thing that week, which they would be for there. But PGA Tour then says, well, when we told you we can have any given players in any given tournament 12 months of the year, it's actually now only going to be 7 months of the year, and the other 5 is going to be Live time. So FedEx, what you're paying us, they're probably going to not give them as much. So that's where their bargaining power would go down. But they do need to figure out a way to play nice because they're not going away. Live's not going away. The PGA Tours doesn't seem to want to get to a point where they're going to let them cross between the two tours. So, yeah.
Well, the continuation of the interesting times obviously continues, and
the only people that are not winning are people that like watching golf.
Yeah, exactly. It's like counterproductive to everything that it's designed to be doing.
100%. In a year's time, we will have not seen Cam Smith play a PGA Tour event. We'll have only seen him play the best players in the majors, assuming all the majors entry qualifications stay the same. So he'll be playing the best players in the world 4 times next year, and the rest of the time he'll be playing in 54 no-cut events. I don't know how that's good for golf. I don't know. Rockets look at me like, yep, I agree.
I'm over it. I'm already over it. I'm so jaded by the whole thing. And do you know what I was thinking about tonight?
Right.
Golf Karma. Golf Karma. She's a cruel beast, but I now get it. The fact that the shark had multiple people hold shots to rob him of majors and all the other things that goes on. We owe an apology to Golf Karma to say, I'm sorry. We didn't really understand why you did what you did at the time, but now I get it. You foresaw the future. Golf Karma, I apologize, and I understand.
Imagine he had a green jacket.
Oh my goodness. The ego of the man.
He's a
I love him.
mate, I get it.
Show my kids like the Shark Attack book in terms of just reading and learning about golf, but just as a human being, Golf Karma, I formally apologize. I fall at your knees. I understand what you're doing. Sometimes it's not about at the time. You see something that we don't.
Yeah.
We mere mortals do not understand.
At the end of the day, and I say this with all honesty, Greg's idea of having a world tour is what the world of golf needs. But the way he's doing it and the way he's going about it and the way that the lay of the land sits now, it's not working and it's no good for anybody. And maybe it's his way of trying to force it because PGA Tour won't do it. But the rationale behind it is great. But yeah, it's just doesn't seem to be working.
I can't, like based on that fact, that, he's trying to get what he wants, with the support of significant investment by steamrolling. I can't see, what Jeff was suggesting, that the PGA Tour and LIV should work together and they should come to a compromise and it won't happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's just going to keep getting. It's like,
it'd be like
it's a disaster. One of those put up all the money at the start, and then it didn't work because there wasn't maybe as much money there. I don't know exactly, but there's endless amount, purportedly endless amounts of money. How deep are their pockets? How long will they go?
Yeah. There's a I don't know which podcast it was. I think it might have been one of the 5 Pick Collective ones when they talk about a guy that has. He talked a lot about Saudi Arabia in terms of LIV is just one tip of the iceberg. It's actually a longer term vision and version of what Saudi Arabia are trying to turn their country into, and they see golf as like this cornerstone around development of community and places. There's this whole larger 100-year strategy that's in play. Golf is a key part of it, and the whole LIV thing is just it's like a small slither of their whole strategy.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be one of these. It'll disappear in a couple of years. They will just keep. They will keep going.
How many sports in the world can you own? Right, not many. F1, they're going down the path, and they've got a big chunk of it. But yeah, golf, like what you just said, Ross, it's not going to go away. And if we take all the politics out of it and everything else, effectively the PGA Tour has a product that they have built to reward the people that are there, and they sell it as that product, right? And part of the attributes of how they can sell it is those people being on that tour. Now, these guys have come in and and the PGA Tour is able to do whatever they want, right? Yes, some people will call it a monopoly. Someone else has come in with unlimited money, and that's probably the only way that was ever going to break that down, and said, we're going to do that, and we want to own that, and we can do this because of X, Y, and Z. And they will continue doing that. And the PGA Tour will never give in because there's no benefit in them to giving in. The only way it works for them is some sort of way to join or be the big brother to them being a little brother, but somehow get their funds injected in or something. That's the only way it would possibly work. But without them being the big player in the relationship, it does not work for them. There will never be compromise. Doesn't make financial sense from PGA Tour's point of view.
It's who knows? But can't see it happening. It'll be interesting to see what.
It's not going to make the product any better. This is the problem. The thing is that they may the whole live thing might attract new eyeballs. It might. Don't know. Don't really know what the impact of that is. But is it going to be sustainable long-term stuff, or is it just people are just like, it's just something new, something exciting, and they jump on, and it's just then it could just drop off, right? But the thing is, though, the actual product itself is not any better. Because here's the thing: is that they're talking about the prize money, but that's the outcome for the players, and they're trying to attract the players. What they forget is that the reason events exist and why they're popular, it's not about the prize money. It's the fact that it's either got some history or it's a particular course. You know, there's all these other things that people want to go on. It's why majors, like the majors could be played for $5. It wouldn't matter. Yeah. And people are going to watch it. It's all about either prestige, the history, or it's the tournament, or it's the content or the contest.
Yeah.
And then what they have to do is then wrap the right things around that in terms of how they broadcast. You know, what are the things they do differently? You know, it's even the simple stuff. And the thing that they continue to miss is the simple stuff of behind the scenes. You know, this is why the most excitement I'm probably going to feel for next year is going to be the, you know, I don't know, we'll call it Drive for Show, Putt for Dough Netflix series, which is going to be quite electric considering everything that's going on. Like if you're the executive at Netflix, you must be going, oh my God, we could not have picked a better time to be doing this.
No.
So that is actually, because the thing is, though, fans or people that aren't fans are going to come to the sport if they're brought behind the curtain, because you're either connecting with a player or an event or something like that. That's how you get drawn in. That's how all people get drawn in, because they get attached to a player. And if you don't have a player that like connects with people, then you're not going to bring eyeballs. Like everyone has a story. How did you get into golf? It's either from, say, their father or mother or brother or sister or, you know, whoever it is. But there's always this one person who's this one golfer that they were fascinated with. And that's like their anchor point for, you know, why they love golf. And that's what it is. We love particular players. We cheer for particular players because it's not a team. Yes, they're team events and stuff like that, but it's still an individual sport. Everyone has their favorite player. And unless you actually use that as the product, plus the course and all the other bits and pieces, it's the only way you're going to grow the game.
You'd argue this week, with any sort of slight improvement in the European Masters field, it would be a much more interesting tournament this week than the Net Club Championship for people to watch.
Oh, absolutely would be.
Because the money's not relevant. They'd be playing for a quarter of it.
Where
the money doesn't help me. Doesn't do anything for me. I don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like Scotty Scheffler this week can win $20 million. That's great. That doesn't help me enjoy watching that tournament anymore.
Yeah, if he wins $20 million, I don't care, because I actually think he's very good at golf. I actually enjoy his caddy more than anything, because I think Scotty Scheffler is as boring as my cat's vomit. You know, so, you know, I follow Ted Scott, but I don't follow Scotty Scheffler. But that's the thing, right? There's all these characters. Maybe I'm a bit different. I don't know if I'm a bit different to most other people that are nuts on golf, but I love watching certain golfers. I cheer for them, but at the same time, I like good golf.
No, you're right, but that is also the crux of the issue, right? Because we all love Cam Smith, and Cam Smith will not be on the PGA Tour next year. That is the problem, right? There are people that have an affinity with him, right? They like I've said before, my mum doesn't know anything about golf, but she knows the boy with the mullet, right? So there are people that are knowing more about this sport because of what we're seeing in Australia. Now, they might get to see him one more time than they've been able to see him in years gone by because there might be a live event here. But when it comes to how he's performing against Scotty Scheffler or Justin Thomas or any other of the best golfers in the world, it'll be like, well, yeah, he was number 2 in the world, and we're still pretty sure he'd be right up there, but he actually doesn't play against any of those guys anymore. So we don't really know how to measure him.
No.
And that's going to get.
And the other thing with the
that's
live
confusing
events as well is that, like, some of the courses they play on, they're just garbage.
I don't know. I don't know too much. I mean, I don't know the Trump courses that too well.
Garbage.
Yeah.
Garbage.
Anyway, yet again, we've fallen down
the live rabbit hole. So what else happened? Asian Tour happened on the weekend. Speaking of live, Asian Tour happened.
Didn't watch Asian Tour. I watched Rocket watched a bit of the USAM.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I watched a little bit. I think I watched a little bit of the semis. I didn't finish watching the semis, and and then I watched, I think it was a round of 16, I think it was, I was watching.
Yeah.
It was not too bad. Although NBC telecast compared to the Fox one that existed before, it's like it's chalk and cheese. Like, it's really hard to watch. They're although, you got Smiley, who does a really good job, but the thing is they don't spend enough time cutting to him, and
What did you think of the course? I thought the course looked all right. It looked like a US Open course.
No, it's an old Donald. No, it's a Tillinghast course, I think.
Was it? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, down in, because that was in New Jersey. Yeah, Tillinghast course, and it's like.
But is that Bethpage was Tillinghast, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you think about the state of New York and New Jersey, and you put like a 30-mile radius, like some of the courses that are there, it's just a wealth of riches. And you look at that course, and it's probably not even the top 30.
Yeah, right. No, I watched a little bit. Good. I know a few other commentators on Twitter and podcasts have talked about the guy who won, Sam Bennett, but I found him excruciating to watch. Like,
he was painful.
Called my wife into the room and said, "Watch this." It was like, morning, she's having a brekkie, and made her stop looking at her phone. I said, "Watch this guy." You remember when Sergio used to regrip?
Yeah.
So he would do 10 regrips before he'd pull the trigger, and it's on his last one he wouldn't regrip, but each time he'd regrip, look at the flag, regrip, look at his shot, regrip, he'd do it nearly 10 times. And the last one he wouldn't regrip, but he'd still look, and then oh my Lord, I was like getting anxious watching him. It was almost unwatchable. And what's really bad, because I feel for the guy, because it's clearly something that he's just gone into his game. He's only a kid and plays out of Texas. I was almost cheering against him because I couldn't watch him anymore. And this guy's in the final.
Well, apparently, so I didn't pick up on it, but I think they said the guy he played in the semis actually plays naturally fast, and I think they'd asked him about how he's going to play the other guy, and he goes, "I'm going to slow play him." I think he actually said, "I'm going to slow play him."
That would be terrible. Yeah, I know. Stephen was there on course, Stephen Britton, and he put up some photos, right around it, and he put up a photo of the winner as he made his part and was holding up the trophy. I said, "Geez, he was a tough watch. I couldn't cheer from him," and I think he was pretty confident that there were a lot of people there that were kind of not sure about him as well. Not that they weren't cheering against him, but they were like, "Oh, it was a tough watch." And I know that no laying up guys were having a proper dig at him, and in particular Tron. But yeah, I don't know if anyone gets to see the highlights, or if anyone did see it, they know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, it was really, really.
It wasn't just that. Even his swing was one of those things where you just go, oof.
I don't know. I've got a terrible swing, so I don't notice that stuff.
We'll start to wrap it up. But speaking of difficult to watch, what was difficult to watch? I did spend a bit of time on the night shift watching the women's golf in Europe at Sotogrande. It was difficult to watch Jessica Korda implode on the last round and give up what I think was a 10-shot lead. Yeah, if there's any sweetness out of it, she gave it up to her sister, Nelly Korda, who's a sensational golfer. But yeah, it was just it is one of those things that you look at and go, well, she's human. On the Thursday, she shot LET Tour record low 61. And then I think she shot 75 or something, or 70, like mid-70s. She didn't play great and give up a 10-shot lead. It sort of was one of those things. It doesn't make you feel better, but it makes you think that she's just human, and she makes mistakes. And one thing I noticed was the commentators, talking about, can she bounce back from this? Is this going to affect her? And they'll say, yeah, it really is going to affect her. But I started to think about, all of us regular golfers that shoot 20 points one weekend and go back out and have 40 points the next weekend. Like, I'm sure she'll bounce back just fine. But it was, it was hard to watch for her. But
61, 68, 77.
77, yeah. So 77.
Happens.
Yeah. Anyway, it was hard to watch her because she just lost. Once she lost it, she just lost it. She was just like, she fluffed the chip, and anyway, it was hard. But Nelly Korda is a fantastic golfer. If you saw the vision of her, and it reminded me of, I stood back and watched Nelly Korda behave around the young aspiring golfers at the Women's Open. She stood there for a good 20 or so minutes signing autographs. There was a great clip of her signing for the young Spanish fans that were there, and gave away a pair of shoes. And a photographer gets a photo of us sort of turn around to his camera with the young kid that she gave the shoes to. And he takes a photo, which is pretty good. And he goes over to one of the watchers on, must have been like part of Nelly Korda's management detail or something like that. And he just gives him a nudge. He's got play, he's got a camera here, I can reenact it. He pulls his camera down, he presses play, and he looks at the camera through the viewfinder, and he looks at the photo, and he nudges the fella next to him. So have a look at this. So it's a good one. They were clearly really happy with what she was doing. Anyway, I watched that. It was good. Asian Tour.
Quarter sisters are good eggs.
Yeah. No, they really are. I didn't know too much about it. I hadn't really followed them before, but seeing them up close and personal at the Open, it was really good to see. Asian Tour, where Blakey was referee. Blakey got on TV. Now we talk about Mrs. Ma Rocket being happy with the performance of her son and getting to listen to her son every week. Blakey sent me a video of his parents in New Zealand. Watching Blakey on TV, refereeing. I can't remember the play that he was adjudicating on, but he was very clearly front and center on screen. You could hear him talking, delivering his message to the player. And in the video that one of Blakey's family members was taking, it's his mum going, "There's David, there's David, there's David." It was a good moment. Anyway, Asian Tour, where Blakey was refereeing. Taehoon OK won. Bio Kim was second. Trevor Simsby third in terms of the live players that are in the live tour and did play. Todd Sinnott did too. He's not live, but he did finish 15th.
There was definitely a couple of them there.
Travis Smythe was 25th.
Smythe was there, yeah.
Chase Koepka was also 25th. And Wade Ormsby was 44th. So, there were some live players there, mostly the Australians that play on the Asian Tour as well. Anything else? We covered off everything?
That's it. I think there's the Amiga European Masters this week, and the second round of the I was going to say the Web.com playoffs. Probably not the Web.com anymore.
Corn Ferry
Tour playoffs. So there's a few Aussies still fighting for a card.
Minwoo, how did Minwoo go?
Started well, and stopped. And if there's one thing you can't do on the Corn Ferry Tour, it's stop.
No.
So he was on. I'll look him up. He definitely was top. He was top one or two. He might have even been leading after round one. Shot 63, and then finished T26. So if he went past him, Harrison Endicott went past him. I think he's already got his card.
Harrison Endicott had enough points to secure his card. He did. Yes, he did.
But yeah, Will Gordon won in a playoff. So yeah, it was there's already a few that have got their cards. There's a few that will have it. I think they give out 25 more. Isn't that right, Rocket? After the three.
Yeah. So at the moment, Minwoo is still in the top 25.
Yep.
So you're going from top to bottom. Yeah. So these are the ones that have. A lot of these are ones that have come from either Europe or PGA Tour stuff, and they're just trying to get there. This is the next sort of 25.
Yeah.
So you got like Will Gordon, who's leading that one, down to you've got like Doc Redman at 7th. You've got Nick Hardy, he missed out on holding his card by a B's diaphragm, so he's tied for 11th. Got Minwoo tied for 17th. Scriv the Pirate tied for 17th. Pearson Coody tied for 21st. Why he's not just elevated to the main tour is beyond me.
Pearson Coody? Oh, yeah. They can't.
Yeah, he's won, turned pro, wins his first event. I think he won another one not long after.
He'll get it. I mean, I think it was and it's not having a go. I think it was Luke Elvey on Twitter who was saying same thing about Minwoo Lee about giving him a card. And it's not wrong. He should be on the PGA Tour, and as long as he performs, he'll be fine. But
yeah,
you look at Grayson Murray finished above him this week, and I don't want Grayson Murray getting a card.
No, absolutely not.
It's just about
Bads.com is T26. And any other?
Where's Justin Lower? Justin Lower was one that has been on and off the last.
T17.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, gents. Well, on that note, we look forward to seeing that. Does it wrap up this week? Is this the last round? Two more rounds to go. Okay. But Minwoo, if he had a good finish, he could potentially earn enough points.
I think if he wins, he's guaranteed. Yeah. If he finishes top couple, he might be close enough to it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's wrap it up on there. Once again, it's been a wide-ranging chat on a number of topics that continue to pop up. If we keep talking about them, it means that people out there want to keep talking about them too. So we thank you for listening on, and we'll see you for episode 201 next week. Gents, thanks again. Rocket, congratulations, and thank you. Magic, thank you. But the biggest thank you is reserved for anyone that does tune in, download, share, subscribe, and all the wonderful things that you continue to do. We appreciate every time you tune in, and thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Until next week, we'll see you then. Thanks for listening to the My Love of Golf podcast.